back to my YouTube. It's your girl Honey. Oh my gosh, we are doing the most requested video of all time. We are talking all about how to attract your partner using the power of astrology. Power of astrology. Lo and behold, your honey is booed up. Listen, this is a celebration, and it's a celebration for real because I've been single for 6.5 years, which is a very long time considering, you know, I would look at myself as a catch. So most people should look at themselves as anyway. And I realized that I've not been ready for a relationship. I've not been ready for the man that I'm with today. Bear in mind, it's still very much early days, but I'm very happy with who I've chosen to be with. Because I could have been with all different types of guys, and looking back, no one compares to the man that I'm with today. So anyway, this video I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I attracted and what tools I use to attract this man. That also talking about synastry aspects, transits, vertexes towards the end of the video, just to give you guys some, you know, information on how you should be, on what you should be doing to attract your mans or your girls. Now, I had no idea that I had attracted this man into my life using astrology, the laws of attraction. I didn't know that. It wasn't until I had an epiphany and oh my god, this is him. I met this guy online initially. My Venus is sat in my 11th house, which is house of technology, so it's very easy for me to meet people online. It's not hard. And we established a foundation, a friendship. You know, he was someone that I was talking to, and really intelligent, intellectual conversation. And yes, he is a Gemini.
Oh my god, Gemini, why, honey? Why date a Gemini? Oh my god, yes, I
know. Gemini is probably one of the most disliked energies in the zodiac, but I love it. I'm a Gemini rising. You know, his sun is literally conjunct my ascendant. How can I not be attracted to him? You know, come on, like, I like the energy. And a lot of Gemini men that I do know are married, do have kids, and are very committed in their relationships, believe it or not. But that's just what I know. For 2018 on my solar return chart, right, my Venus is sat in the house of Gemini, which is the 3rd house. 3rd house is local commutes, it's vehicles, right, siblings, etc. I had not met this guy in real life, and how I met him is I was crossing over the road. I just parked my car somewhere. I was crossing over the road and I just see this big chocolate man in the petrol station. And I look over at him, he's like this. And I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck are you doing here? You know, it's like, how the hell did we meet like this? What the fuck's going on? We met and it was fucking fate. And this is what scares the hell out of me, because my Venus in the 3rd house shows that I would have met someone. 3rd house is house of Gemini. He's a Gemini sun. 3rd house is house of vehicles. I met him in the fucking petrol station. What the hell? By standing next to his car, filling up his tank. I found that really scary because this year I wasn't expecting to meet anyone until the following year, because I've got Jupiter conjunct my descendant the following year. I just found it really weird, like, oh my god, I had no idea. So ever since that day I said we're going out, and we went out on a date, and we've literally just been together ever since, basically. Roughly about a year ago, I drew up my birth chart and it looks something like this. My ascendant, descendant, etc., placements, whatever. And I physically wrote it down. And I also wrote a birth chart for my imaginary husband. And I wrote down I wanted him to have a Libra rising, because Libra represents beauty, essence, fragrance. It's just, oh, Libra is sat in my 5th house, so I have a lot of fun with Libra energy anyway. And also it's the house of being shallow, so this is the house of flings, casual sex, you know, and I'm very much attracted to Libras in that light. So I wanted him to have a Libra rising. This guy has Libra in his 1st house. I had to have someone who had Capricorn energy, because Capricorn is in my 8th house. I'm a Capricorn moon, and I'm very much about teamwork. Joint resources is the 8th house. So whether it was going to be a Capricorn sun guy that would mean his sun would then square his ascendant. Now, my boyfriend, right, his sun squares his ascendant. He's actually a Virgo rising, the Gemini 10th house. 10th house is the house of Capricorn. Do you see what's going on here? I drew this chart. But I've also got Sagittarius in my 7th house. Now, if you ask me, honey, what sign wouldn't you date? I would always say Sagittarius. Why? Because whatever sign's on your descendant, you tend to not like that energy because you don't relate to it as much, because your identity or your persona, what you relate to a lot, is your ascendant, which is the opposite of your descendant. So I didn't like Sag energy, but it's weird because I appreciate it. I love how intelligent they are, intellectual, how passionate they are, and how much fun they fucking are. But I didn't know what I wanted as Sag on my made up birth chart. So anyway, my boyfriend is a Sag moon, and his moon sits conjunct my descendant as well. I also said that I wanted to have a Mars and Aries, but then again, if I had Mars and Aries, his Mars would fall into his 7th house, and it would be in an aggressive sign, which makes him an aggressive person. I didn't want that. But the guy I've attracted has his Mars in the 1st house of Aries, which is crazy. Now, I also printed off pictures, images of the things that I really want to attract, and here it is, but I can't show you because these things are supposed to be kept private and sacred to you. Got a few things on here, surprisingly. I've actually managed to acquire a few of these things, and one of these things on here is a particular car. The mad thing is, my boyfriend drives this car. He drives this motherfucking car. He drives this car. I also wrote a list. Right here is how long the list is. As you can see, it's long. And I wrote this list. This list is titled Laws of Attraction for My Future Husband Who I'll Be Meeting This Year. I wrote that list in January, around January time. And the list, you've got to be so particular about how you're writing this list. You can't say things like, he must not be this way, he must not speak to me like this, you can't go in negatively. You've got to say, my boyfriend will, my boyfriend has, my boyfriend. You've got to write it down as though you already have it, because that's what's going to attract your man towards you. So although the list is really long, right, I was never referring to the list every day. I was never referring back to the list in regards to men that I was meeting at that time. I put the list and the picture on my fridge, because I see my fridge every day because I'm hungry. But you know, I would look at the list every day to remind myself, this is what I need to attract into my life. So about 4 weeks ago, my cousin was at my house, and we were talking about my boyfriend, right? Found this list because I've just moved here. I just moved to this house, and there's a few paperwork stuff that I need to sort out, and I just found the list again. And I found it, and I was like, oh my God. He ticks at least 37 boxes out of 40. And my cousin was sitting there like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because I've never met someone who seems to tick every box, and he ticks every single box. And I took a breath and I was like, wow, I think this is the guy I've manifested. He's the same guy that he drives the car that I've got on my laws of attraction list. You know, he ticks every single box. He has the placements and positions that I've used, that I've been asking for in astrology. We fit really, really well. I'm actually quite scared now. Now, whether this lasts forever or it doesn't, I'm really happy right here, right now, and that is all that matters to me. Now, let me show you guys exactly how to get this done. Draw up your birth chart and you write down, okay, I want my boyfriend's Mars to be in Capricorn. I want my boyfriend's Sun to be in Leo. I want my boyfriend's Moon to be in Scorpio. Whatever it is that you want, write down, draw it in the house, okay? So here's my chart, and my boyfriend's Moon sits here. His Sun sits here. his Venus sits here, etc, etc. And then sit back and look at the chart that you've just drawn up. And this is a random chart that you've just made up from the top of your head. And look and see, okay, I don't think I can date someone who has their sun in that sign, because their sun will be in the wrong house for me, for what I need. Because you've got to bear in mind, this is about your needs, what you need, not what you want, it's what you need. And you've got to look and think, okay, what am I willing to compromise on? Because no one's perfect. I'm not perfect, but I know what energies I go really well with. So for example, you might have a lot of Virgo energy on your chart, and you would prefer to not date a Pisces or a Sagittarius, whatever it is, because this energy squares your Virgo. You've got to think, okay, what energies do I like, and how would those placements look on a synastry chart? Do we have Venus squaring Neptune? Does his Venus now square my Neptune? I said I wanted someone who has Capricorn energy. So if he had a Capricorn sun, his sun would be conjunct my moon. His sun would be in my 8th house. But will he be born the same year as me? Because if he is, then his Neptune and Uranus will also be in my 8th house conjunct my moon. Shall I date older? Shall I date younger? You've got to bear all that in mind. You've got to keep drawing out different charts and seeing how they're interacting with your natal chart, and then go based on which one suits you the best. Vertex is not a point that I use a lot. One thing I didn't check actually, which I forgot to look at, was our vertexes, or what was happening around our vertexes when we actually met. Now his vertex is, I think, natally conjunct my Mars. I think it's my anti-vertex that's conjunct his Venus. I've got to see what transits were happening during the time that we met. I've not even looked at that, but that's another thing as well, is when you guys meet, you have to look to see what's going on with your vertexes, what aspects are happening, because vertex is seen as the fate. Also, North Node plays a massive part in, you know, synastry as well, you know, composite charts. North Node is basically a point that directs you towards where you need to be heading in life. I also look at it as being quite difficult, because I've dated so many Leos, and if you ask me, what's your favorite sign, honey? I'm gonna be like, oh, it's Leo, because Leo is my South Node. Every Leo person I've slept with, I feel so at home, I feel comfortable, but the thing is, it feels, internally, it feels wrong. Like deep, like when you really deep it, it feels wrong. It feels like I shouldn't be with that person, but it feels good because it's wrong, and that's the wrong feeling to have. When you do have South Node conjunctions, bear in mind that this is something you need to leave behind, and that's what I'm having to learn, is that Leo energy is what I love, but I can love it and appreciate it from a distance. You also need to look at the moon, honey. The moon is probably one of the most important positions when it comes to dating. I always say this because the moon is your emotional fulfillment. If someone says, I don't feel like he emotionally fulfills me, I don't feel emotionally fulfilled by her, it's because your moon is not getting the needs that it desires. You know, with my moon being in Capricorn, I value status, goals, success, drive, and because it's in the 8th house as well, because the house also plays a massive part in this, I really value joint resources. The guy that I'm dating is a 10th house sun, and he does very, very well for work. I'm very proud of him, and my moon feels very fulfilled by his success. And bearing in mind, your moon is also gonna be a reflection on you. So not only as a Capricorn moon, your partner be a success, but you have to be represented as being successful yourself too. Now, when's the best time to meet your partner? It's so important that you are happy within yourself. And what I found is, being single over a 6.5 year period, is I don't feel like I've been happy. And I realized that once I found my niche, which is my identity, what I like to do with my life, I was busy living my life. You know, I'm stuck on YouTube. I'm doing astrology 24/7. You know, my social life has picked up a bit more now. I've moved back into London. I'm happy in my own little life. A lot of things was popping for me and I was happy by myself. If you're unhappy by yourself, you're going to only attract the wrong type of people towards you, which I know this happened to me a lot, because I found myself filling this empty space because I felt empty. There's a massive difference between being alone and being lonely. I went through days of, oh my God, I'm so alone, I'm so lonely today. I want to just meet someone, or I just want to be around people, whatever. And then I'll go through days where I like my own space. I love the fact that I come home, no one's here. I can be naked, I can do what I want and no one's judging me. I feel happy. I feel that these things happen at the time where you least expect it to. You've also got to look back on your dating history, okay? Who you've dated before, why you dated them, why things didn't work out, what your input was, and really assess yourself. Because a lot of us look back and we all say, oh, my ex did this to me, oh, he's this way towards me, yada, yada, yada. You know, I generally have really bad exes. I have really bad experience. I've had really bad experiences with men, really bad. But I also have to look at, okay, how could that have been prevented? What could I have done in order to prevent that from happening to that extent? At what point should I have walked away? Should I have picked up on certain things happening earlier? You have to take responsibility. Go off into your new relationships and you know that's not happening to you again, because you've been there, you've done it, you now know how to prevent it. I made the conscious decision to not sleep with anybody new up until I find someone that is of some significance. I've not been with anybody new for over 2 years, up until now. This guy made things official with us before we even slept together. And my sun sits in his 8th house. 8th house suns in synastry, usually you guys are like having sex from early because the sexual chemistry is very, very strong. Also, are you changing your mindset? But you've also got to change who you're surrounding yourselves with. Now, I've got different sets of friends for different things, but I said to myself, if you guys remember, I made a video earlier on this year talking about the friendships that I'm getting closer with, and I mentioned, you know, one of my friends wants to buy a property with, you know, her partner. The other one is married and she's happy in her marriage and they're doing their thing together. And I said to myself, I want to be around other people that are in relationships a lot more, just so I can understand or just learn about what they're going through. A lot of my friends are single, a lot of my friends are still bitter, a lot of my friends are in their own situation, but I never let what they say penetrate my mind, like, oh, guys are trash, all men are trash. I literally just heard what they said, but I would focus on my friends who are happy in their relationships and getting what they want to be getting. You need to surround yourself with people that are going to inspire you and keep you focused. A lot of my friends, you know, my really good friends would tell me, honey, that's not how you deal with men. You know, you've gone about it completely wrong. And these are good friends because they're telling you about you and how you're coming across. And the whole purpose is for you to learn more and more about yourself, because I always look at it like, you know, I've been single for a long time, but I always called it I'm preparing myself for my husband, because none of us are perfect, but we can always work towards being better. And your friends are there to help you and guide you along the way. So if you've got friends that are already married, they're already in serious relationships, they're doing so much with their partners or with their lives in general, if they are unable to tell you about yourself, they ain't really your friends, because they're not helping you grow. What I also learned is how not to be bitter about people that leave your life. I've been single for 6.5 years. When I first started dating after that awful breakup, and it was the worst pain, it was so painful, that breakup. Back then, I was still very bitter, still carrying a lot of pain from my ex, and I was trying to jump into relationships to cover that pain. You can't do that. If you're carrying pain with you, you should not be dating. Because like I keep saying, people come into your lives for a particular reason. And even though things may not have worked out with you and that person, perhaps they've got a brother. Perhaps they got a best friend. Perhaps they've got someone else that would be better off suited to you. But you won't know, because if you cut them off, or if you're being bitter about it and you're angry at them because it didn't work out in the way that you wanted, you will never ever know. So listen, to summarize this whole video, make sure you guys write down, draw up your synastries, okay? Just make up the kind of person you want to attract. Do a laws of attraction list, the kind of guy, woman, whatever you want to attract. And also do a vision board of the things that you want to attract, okay? I also want you guys to look at yourself. What makes you the ideal spouse? Would you date you? Make sure you are surrounding yourself by people who inspire you. Very, very important. And most importantly, you are happy on your own. Because if you're not happy on your own, your happiness will be dependent on someone else. So that means if that person left you, you're going to be unhappy again. No, live your life, have your own life, your own things going on. That's probably the most important tip. But I need you guys to make sure you're happy on your own. I'd love to hear if you guys have used astrology to attract your partners, laws of attraction. I'd love to hear, you know, what transits went on when you met your partner. What's going on? I'd love to hear about it. So leave it in the comment section below, okay? And I look forward to making another video. Let me know if you'd like any particular videos uploaded. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share. Peace out, people. All the best. Take care.